Hey guys, how's it going? This is Mike from M&R Automotive. Today we have the Tesla Cybertruck and we're installing a 40-inch light bar. First thing we have to do in order to get the frunk out is actually lift these two tabs. There's two covers that expose two bolts on each side. So you just pry it with a screwdriver. And I'm going to go ahead and take out these four. These are 10 millimeter. Next thing we're going to do, we're going to unclip this top piece. It's held on clips. You can separate it here. Where is it? And it's just held on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 clips. So we'll put that to the side. Now that we removed the top trim piece, there's two more bolts that is exposed, the 10 millimeter bolts. We're going to remove those as well. The next thing is to remove these pins, twist them counterclockwise, and just pull them out. Now that everything in the Cybertruck in terms of all the bolts and clips are removed, we get to pick up the front lining, but there's also a wiring harness on the driver's side. So if you tilt this piece up, all you have to do is just pull this out. Now you might have to press on that button to pull the plug. When removing the front, make sure it doesn't get caught up by the windshield wiper cap. So work on the passenger side first, and then just take it out. Now that the front lining is removed, we can go ahead and install the light bar mounts. Plastic inserts that are held by clips. I'm just going to put my hand in here and pull this panel. It will remove, and you just kind of slide it out the way. There's one 10 millimeter bolt that we're going to remove here in order to slide the M&R bracket. Now I'm going to do the same thing on the passenger side. Just kind of pry it out, unclip it, and remove it. And I'm going to take out the 10 millimeter bolt here. So these are the plastic trim pieces that we just removed. We are not going to be reusing them in the installation. We're going to put them aside. We are going to replace those trim pieces with a metal M&R version. So in order to attach these, we're going to go ahead and use the supplied hardware. I'm going to put a bolt through here. And don't forget, there's a small spacer that comes with the bracket itself. You're going to go on the back side of it. So that's going to allow it to be pushed forward a 1/4 inch. And we're just going to slide this and align it with the bolt opening. So make sure not to tighten it all the way. I like to do the final tie downs after the light bar is in the middle. So now we're going to do the same thing on the passenger side. We're going to feed the M&R bolt through the bracket. We're going to put the 1/4 inch spacer in the back, and we're going to thread it in place. So now that we have the mounts installed, now we can install the light bar in between them. So we're going to go ahead and grab the supplied hardware, and I'm going to thread it in. Keep in mind, after everything's lined up, that's when we're going to do the final tie down. So right now I'm just doing it with my fingers. Before installing the light bar, let's feed this wire right behind it. There's grooves here, and that way we can get the power to the frunk. So I'm going to go ahead and feed this wire behind the bracket. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and feed this wire through the opening into the frunk. So I'm just going to put it in here and try to fish it out on the other end. Now I'm going to go ahead and feed this wire through. Now we have the power wire inside the frunk. We can go ahead and connect the light bar to the bracket and tighten this bolt. And we can tighten this bolt to hold the M&R bracket. After we tightened all the bolts, the light bar is mounted. So now the only thing we have to do is wire it to the Cybertruck power outlets. Now that we have the wiring in the front area, let's talk about how we're going to connect it. The light bar comes with two wires. There's a red wire, which is the positive, and then there is a black wire, which is the ground. You do have auxiliary switches within the Tesla Cybertruck that you can control on the monitor itself, and you do have pigtails here that will provide that switch power. What I'm going to do, I'm going to take off this rubber piece. So now we're going to go ahead and remove the protective covering. Here, let me actually cut through it. It'll probably be easier. The two that we're gonna use, red with the blue stripe, which is the positive, and then the brown with the blue stripe, which is the ground. So we're gonna add an inline step-down converter for the Cybertruck to connect our light bars, just for the fact that the Cybertruck puts out 48 volts in these wires, and we need to step that down to 12. So you can purchase this on Amazon or eBay. They're readily available. So what it's gonna do is gonna take 48 volts, take it through this box, and output 12. And that's exactly what we need to power our light bar. So after looking at the diagram, the red and black are the power wires that go to the battery, and the yellow and black are the output device. So the output device is the light bar. So this one, the red and black, is going to connect to the power wires here, and then the yellow and black is going to go to the light bar. So what we're going to do, we're going to slip a crimp connector and we're going to crimp it. So now we're going to connect the red wire to the red and blue stripe and crimp it. Now we're going to connect the black wire next to the red wire. We're going to connect that to the brown with a blue stripe. So now we have the red and black from the light bar, and then we have the yellow and black from the module. So I'm going to do the same thing. I'll put the crimp connectors on there. I'm going to go black to black, and I'm going to go red to yellow. So quick recap, we used a step down converter to drop it from 48 volts to 12. We connected the red wire with a blue stripe, which is the positive, to a red wire in a module. We connected the brown wire with a blue stripe, which is the ground, to the black wire next to the red wire on the module. And that left us with two output wires, which is the yellow and the black, that connect directly to our light bar. So the yellow is the positive, so we went to yellow to red, and then black to black, which is two grounds. So now we're ready to test it.
On. It looks nice.
Looks great. So the step down converter worked. We transferred 48 volts into 12. So after firing up the light bar, we've noticed one thing with a Tesla Cybertruck. You are not able on the screen to turn on, off, on, off, on. So I've tested that theory by turning it off, and I still saw voltage in a line. It's not the module, it's not the light, it's the electrical system of the Cybertruck. So look, right now we're showing 0 volts. Okay, I'm gonna go turn it on. So the light bar is on. There is 48 volts going to our module, and you can see it on the voltmeter, 46 volts. But when you turn it off, it's gonna go out gradually. And it's not gonna let you turn it back on until all the voltage goes to 0. And that typically takes about 1 minute. So technically it will not allow you to cycle on off multiple times. You're gonna have to wait a minute in between for all the voltage to drop. I'm gonna turn it off on the screen, and then we're gonna hop and track the voltage. Now it's off, and let's go check on the voltage. It'll still have some voltage going to it. Here, see 8, and it's going down. 7, 6. You decide to use your light bar, leave it on. If you turn it off, you know that you need at least maybe a 1 minute cool down period in order to turn it back on.
I wonder what they do that for. Maybe someone can tell us why.
Maybe, yeah, maybe somebody can, but it's not a constant on-off like a normal 12-volt system. On a 48, it needs time for it to actually drain all the energy off. I'm sure there's some kind of a safety concern. Once you turn something off, it still takes about a minute for that voltage to drop from 46.6, and it will only allow you to re-engage that switch if the voltage is around 2 volts. Hopefully you guys learned something. Make sure to follow us in our future videos. And thank you very much for your time.